And we're live. Welcome back for another stream, everyone. I hope you're all well. How was everyone's weekend? Mine's flown by, and no FPL to enjoy either, with the League Cup and the FA Cup fixtures being played. But I wanted to take the opportunity to do a Game Week 22 preview stream before the week ahead. And there is tons to discuss already in terms of the news over the last few days. So we'll jump into that on this stream, along with plenty more prepared for you all. So thank you for being here. As I say, yeah, it's the tail end of Game Week 21 with another 3 fixtures to be played. So the Game Week 21 is not quite over yet. We've got Southampton versus Brentford on Tuesday. Everton versus Leicester, that's also on Tuesday. Kicks off 15 minutes after the Southampton game. And then West Ham versus Norwich is on Wednesday. And then that's the end of Game Week 21. And just 2 days later, it's Game Week 22. So the game weeks are coming thick and fast. Thank you all for being here. Nottingham Forest 1, Arsenal 0. Unbelievable. Yeah, Arsenal are out of the FA Cup. I suppose the only positive there is, I suppose it's easier for the Premier League to find a spot to slot that Arsenal, or the Arsenal's postponed games, because Arsenal are one of the 2 sides that have got 3 postponed fixtures. I think Burnley's the other side that have 3 games postponed. So at least it's a bit easier for the Premier League to slot that Arsenal postponement in, but not good to lose to Nottingham Forest. Thank you all for being here. I hope you're all well. Hope you had a good weekend. John L says, good evening, Oscar. Hope you're well, man. Yeah, I'm alright, mate. Not too bad, besides the Arsenal result. Matthew says, is Trent fit? I believe he is. We'll cover that shortly in the news roundup, because there is some news on Trent, which I'm sure you've all seen. S-Bam says, Klopp said that Trent has tested positive for COVID, or so I've been told. Yeah, I've been told the same. Maybe we'll jump straight into the news roundup and then we'll do a few questions and whatnot. But we'll start with Everton, because this is kind of the breaking news from the last few hours, and it's not official yet. So I don't know on the reliability of the source, but they've reported that Everton Football Club have been notified of Leicester City's application to the Premier League board for the postponement of their fixture. Which is, of course, the second of their Game Week 21 Double Gameweek fixture. So they have requested a postponement, and of course Leicester are one of those teams that have a lot of players out with injuries and COVID. I believe they've got something like 8 senior players at the moment. And one of those players out is Jamie Vardy, and apparently it's now up to twice as long as initially reported. So Jamie Vardy could be out for some time, unfortunately for the Foxes. And of course, Leicester have got a few players at the African Cup of Nations as well. I believe Daka and Iheanacho. Iheanacho is at the African Cup of Nations. I think Ndidi, is he? I think he's Nigerian. But some Spurs news. It's a hamstring injury for Heung-min Son. And while Conte's hopeful that it'll be 2 weeks out, there are some fears that it could be as much as 5. Awful, awful news. I think this is potentially the worst news heading into Game Week 22. And regrettably, it's a lot of bad news for the news roundup this game week. But yeah, Heung-min Son, he was my transfer plan, and I know there's a lot of you that had him already, because of course Spurs are one of those teams that have a double game week in 22. But he's out. Looks like it'll be for the remainder of the month, so he's going to miss the double game week, and he'll probably miss game week 23 as well, unfortunately. Which does also make the options even more scarce in terms of which double game week assets we want to get. More injury news. Eddie Howe has confirmed Callum Wilson will be sidelined for 8 weeks following the calf injury he sustained in the game against Man United in December last month. Yeah, he went off early that game. Tried to play on, but he couldn't, and it looks like it's a bad one. Unfortunately, he's out for a couple of months, it seems. But the Trent news, as we were talking about just then. So they had an FA Cup fixture today, and Trent missed out after testing positive for COVID shortly after last weekend's draw at Chelsea. However, he is expected to be available to resume training in the coming days. So to answer your questions, it looks like we're going to be okay with Trent, unless he has any long-term effects. But I believe he actually had COVID last year as well, so it's unusual, or at least rarer, to get it twice. But he's one of those, and presuming he has no long-term effects or anything like that, he's expected to be back for Game Week 22. And of course, this was just after the Chelsea game, so that's quite a long amount of time between that and the next fixture. More COVID news. So the West Ham lineup tonight, reportedly Soufal and Ashby are out. We're out with COVID, which again is brutal, because West Ham are one of those teams that had a double game week 21, and it looks like Soufal might be one of the players. to have picked up COVID and hence misses out, and probably misses out for the second Double Gameweek 21 fixture. And of course, the other Double Gameweek news is that we have a Double Gameweek 22. The teams that have a double are Brentford, Brighton, Burnley, Chelsea, Leicester, Man United, Spurs and Watford. Not the best double we've ever seen, but there could be some options there that do well. Big question is whether to free hit or not. I'm not sure if it's worth it. What do you guys think? Is it worth free hitting? I don't think it is. I think there's going to be better opportunities. We'll talk about it a bit later on this stream, but Ben Crellin speculates that we could have a big Double Gameweek 36, so I think that could be a good opportunity. And perhaps in a blank game week before then as well. But yeah, thank you all for being here. Ghost says, I used my free hit. Did you? What, in Game Week 21 or earlier? I do feel for the people that used the free hit for Double Gameweek 21. Fabio Borges was one of them. He's the greatest FPL manager of all time, and he used his. And of course, one of those players with a double was Calvert-Lewin. Very popular pick for the Double Gameweek, and it does look like that second fixture of the double could be off. So in my case, I took a hit to get Calvert-Lewin in, and he missed the penalty, 0 points. Really annoying, and it looks like he may not even have a second Double Gameweek fixture if the Premier League approve that request to postpone it, which it sounds like they have grounds to do so based on Leicester not having enough senior players. Colin says, who's your preference, Cucurella or Lamptey? A difficult one to answer this. So Lamptey's the more attacking player and he's cheaper. Really exciting player to watch, but I've never felt confident in his minutes. I think there's always a chance he gets benched or he comes off before the 60th minute. It's happened time and time again. And so for that reason, I think Cucurella is the one to go for because he's got the assured minutes. So I think I'd go him over Lamptey. It wouldn't surprise me if Lamptey plays one of the two in the double, or perhaps a bench appearance in one of the two games. Ismail says, is Bruno a good replacement for Son? I think he'd be good against Brentford and Villa. Maybe. I'm not convinced by Bruno this season. Maybe if you're on a free hit, but I don't think he's worth selling Son to get him in, personally. Obviously, there is upside, and he's one of the higher players in terms of predicted points for the Double Gameweek, but I'm not sure if Bruno's worth getting into your teams, to be honest with you. I think I'd be more inclined to downgrade him to someone like Maddison, perhaps, if Leicester, of course, look like they will have a Double Gameweek. Ahmed says, what do you think of Trippier? I'm not tempted by the Newcastle defence just yet. I think they need to make a few more signings and start to look a bit more defensively astute before I consider Trippier. Obviously, he's got the attacking threat in him, and he's always got an assist in him. But yeah, right now I'm not tempted. Not for 5 mil, maybe for 4.5, but not for 5. Jack Rocker says Lucas for Son. Yeah, Lucas is a shout. He could do well in the double. Again, I've never been that particularly tempted by Lucas. He's very patchy in terms of his returns. He's one of those players that you have to catch him at the right time. I think Trossard's another one of those. If you catch them at the right time, you laugh him because they do go through these purple patches, where they'll get a couple of goals, goal and assist, a few assists, and then nothing for 5 or so game weeks. Lucas, I think, is one of those players, so he could be worth the punt. I suppose it will be. I suppose he's likely to play with Son's injury, which is a good thing because we did see him benched recently. Ghost says, should I take Cancelo out? No, I don't think I'd take Cancelo out. City got very good fixtures ahead. Chelsea's going to be a tough game, but there's no reason why City can't keep a clean sheet or Cancelo gets an attacking return, or even both. And then beyond that, they've got 3 incredible fixtures, Southampton, Brentford and Norwich, so I would definitely hold Cancelo for now. There's a question, how do you see the fixtures under the player names? It's a browser add-on called FPL Tools. I think it's on Firefox and Chrome, so I use that to get the fixtures under the players. It's a free browser add-on, really good one. Oh, I've pulled this terribly. This has got so much head on it. Oh, what have I done here? Matthew says, thoughts on Mount on a free hit. Yeah, if I was free hitting, I would definitely have Mount. Definitely would have Mount. The problem is, with the free hit, we're talking about whether it's worth the free hit or not. And the problem with the free hit is there's a lot of single gimmick players that I'd still want to have. I would absolutely still have Trent. I'd absolutely have Jota. I'd probably have Bowen or Antonio, or maybe both. So that's like 4 players right there. So I don't know if it's justified to free hit, honestly. I think we'll have better opportunities to free hit than this one. We'll just bring back those fixtures. So Brentford have got Liverpool, Man United, so there really is no one to be tempted by there. Yeah, I mean, Tony's the only one maybe you could consider, but I don't think he's worth it considering. Brighton, Crystal Palace and Chelsea. Chelsea, tough game. Again, there's not really anyone you'd particularly want there. Cucurella or Trossard perhaps might do well. Burnley, Burnley haven't really got any assets that we want at the moment. I think Cornet's out injured. They're not been putting up the clean sheets like they haven't past seasons, so not tempted by Burnley. Chelsea maybe, but again, City's a very tough game. So you go for all these fixtures, and they're not the best double game week pairings that we've ever seen. So I think it's better to hold on to the free hit if you can. Cables says Sun out, KDB in. Yeah, actually, so if I was selling some, I'd be more inclined to get someone like a City mid, maybe Foden if Foden's confirmed back, maybe KDB, and I think Maddison's probably the other standout. I think those are the potential ones I would consider. So in my case, I've actually got a decision to make, slightly different to most, because my transfer plans were going to be to have Salah until he leaves for the AFCON and then sell him for Son. And that was what I was going to be doing for this double game week. I was absolutely set on that. And then, of course, the Son injury is a bit of a spanner in the works now. So now I'm actually thinking I may not even sell Salah at all. I've got 3.5 million in the bank. So I'm actually looking to sell Smith Rowe. And interestingly, he actually wasn't even in the Arsenal squad for tonight, which worries me a bit because I would have said he almost certainly starts tonight's game, having been benched for Martinelli in the league. So that does lead me to believe something's going on with Smith Rowe, maybe COVID. So I've actually got 9.1 to spend if I sell Smith Rowe instead. So the 2 players I'm looking at is either Maddison or Foden, and that's the route I'm potentially taking with my team. Nicholas says, bench boost may have Maddison, Sarr, Johnson and Matty Cash on the bench. I don't think I would do it, to be honest with you. I don't think now is the time to be bench boosting. I think later in the season is going to be a better opportunity. Right now it's just so unpredictable. Every game week we seem to be getting games postponed after the deadline, so I just think it's not worth it. Infamous says Smith Rowe injured. Oh, is he injured? You're joking. Mr. Mikey says Smith Rowe has a tight groin, a right groin, tight groin. Well then, I mean, I was going to be selling him regardless this game week, so that absolutely sells it. Perfect timing to move him on. So yeah, I'm looking at either Maddison or Foden as my Smith Rowe replacements. Shaydev says Saka or Martinelli. I think it's a tight one. I think I'd probably go for Martinelli at the moment. I'd say they're probably about even in terms of attacking potential, but Martinelli is significantly cheaper. What's actually the difference between them at the moment? So Martinelli's 5.4, 4 goals and 3 assists in his last 8 or so games, and Saka's 6.4. So you're saving an entire mil. But yeah, they're in similar form. So I think based on that, I would go for Martinelli all day. Everton game postponed. Wow. It was only about 10 minutes ago we were talking about how it's a possibility. Is that official? Where are we seeing that? I'm not seeing anything on the subreddit yet. I don't know if you can still hear it, guys, but I got a new keyboard for Christmas, and this one's a bit quieter. I don't know what you call it, but the keys are a bit quieter when you press them. So yeah, shout out to my brother for getting me the new keyboard. Everton Leicester postponed. So is that confirmed? It's official. I haven't seen anything yet. Is it on Everton's Twitter or what? Let's check the Discord out. The Discord's actually normally incredible for breaking news. I don't know how people find stuff so quickly, but let's have a look. I mean, I can't find anything yet, so let me know where it's been announced to everyone. I mean, like we said, it's almost certainly going to happen. It sounds like it already has, because Leicester reportedly had something like 8 senior players, and the Premier League said that the grounds to cancel a game is if you've got less than 13. So Leicester well within their right to postpone the game, annoyingly, because of course it does affect those of us with Leicester and Everton players, which I think is most of us. The Premier League app. Oh, okay. Premier League. Ah, yeah, you're right. Here we go. Everton versus Leicester fixture has been postponed. The match due to play tomorrow on the 10th of January to be rearranged because of COVID-19 cases, injuries and international duty. Yeah, that's exactly what we were saying earlier in the stream. Of course, Leicester have got some players at the African Cup of Nations as well. So a perfect storm of COVID injuries and international obligations. So that does mean that they've got another fixture to be rearranged. So I was going to do a slide on the unrescheduled fixtures or postponed games. So this is already out of date now. We need to add that Leicester v Everton game to this. But this is the list of games that need to be rescheduled. Postponed games for various reasons. I think we had the Burnley Spurs game. Was that the one with the snow? And then we had COVID postponements and the the Club World Cup. So that affects Chelsea, and I think it affects Arsenal and Brighton, who Chelsea were going to play as well. So postponements for various reasons, and as a result, it does mean that we have lots of games to be rescheduled, which is good. Good opportunity to pull up Ben Crellin's graphic, which again is going to be outdated because now we have Leicester and Everton with an extra game to postpone. Heading into tonight's stream, Burnley and Arsenal were the 2 teams with 3 games to be rearranged, but now Everton will also have 3 and Leicester will have 2. So there's about 8 teams with 2 games to be postponed and 3 teams with 3 games to be postponed. And in fact, Brentford, West Ham and Man City, the only teams that don't have any games to be rescheduled as it stands. But yeah, this is the graphic from Ben Crellin. It's a bit daunting to look at, but it's a really, really useful graphic, and I'm sure you're aware of him already. But he's got these yellow patches here, which is where he said possible double game week. And you can see that some of these come as soon as game week 25 onwards. So something to bear in mind. And ideally, if you can have a transfer rolled, or as I say, your free hit banked, I think there's going to be better opportunities to use it than game week 22. And it could even be possible that we have, back to back to back double game weeks from game week 25 onwards. So something to bear in mind. But also something to bear in mind for those who still have their triple captain is that Liverpool have 2 fixtures to reschedule, which is Leeds and Arsenal. And Liverpool can't have a game moved to game week 22, which increases the chance of it being moved to game week 26 when Liverpool have a slot. So as a result, Liverpool could have a double game week in 26 of Norwich and Leeds at home, which I think is just about the best double game week pairing I've ever seen if that happens. So that's going to be the very, very obvious game week to triple captain if that's how the fixtures fall. Norwich at home and Leeds at home, and of course Salah will be back from the African Cup of Nations then. The other thing Ben Crellin points out is that game week 36 is likely to be huge, so one more thing to bear in mind. If you're able to save your wildcard till as late as 35, then there could be a huge upside in wildcard in 35, bench boost in 36. Or, I think a very viable tactic is to save one of your free hits and use it in that huge double game week. Did I miss a donation? What was it? Domster, thank you for the donation. He says, how do you get the fixtures under their names? It's a browser add-on called FPL Tools. It's on Chrome and Firefox. Yeah, just Google FPL Tools Firefox or FPL Tools Chrome, whichever one you use, and it'll be the top result on Google. Yeah, it's a really good add-on. They do have other features, like you can view their historical points under the players and things like that, but I just use it for the fixtures. It's just a nice little addition to have on your team selection page. Yeah, I think if Liverpool end up with that double game week of Leeds and Norwich at home, it's going to be probably the most obvious triple captaincy game week the game's ever seen, assuming that Salah's available, not injured and all that. But certainly he'll be back from the African Cup of Nations. He could be back as soon as GW22. Jeffrey says, would you go Lucas Moura or Maddison for 22? I think I would go Maddison personally. I think Moura is a good pick as well, and obviously he looks likely to play with Son's injury. Oh, my OCD's killing me. I'm just noticing now that the stream's going outside of the border. Can you guys see that? How do I fix that? Shouldn't be doing this live, probably. Oops. That's not the button. Is it that one? Oh. How's that? Perfect. There we go. Thank you so much for tuning in so far, everyone. We've got 940 watching. Incredible turnout on this Sunday night. If you are enjoying the stream so far, do hit like on the stream and of course subscribe to the channel if you're not already. And if anyone's not a member of the Discord, a link to that is in the description and I'll spam it in the chat as well. Genuinely good FPL resource. Let me just pull it up and we'll quickly run through it. Can't do a stream without promoting the FPL Discord, can I? So we've got the price changes, we've got the lineups, we've got the live scores, we've got the live points, we've got the bonus points, it's got the game week stats, it's got injury updates, it's got top 10k stats, insider trading, news, transfer trend, new players, disaster classes, and loads more. So I'll put that in the chat as well for those who want to join. And the other thing it's got that's really cool is you can pick your alerts, so you can actually just choose which alerts you want to receive. So for example, if you were interested in getting the price changes every morning on your phone, then you could follow that. Or likewise, if you wanted to get the bonus points once they're confirmed. All sorts of goodies on the Discord, and I'm on there every day. Jeffrey says, do you have a Patreon? I actually do, but I don't actively promote it. The better one to sign up for is YouTube membership. There's a join button below the stream and there's a link in the description as well, and it's a bit easier because it ties into YouTube. And yeah, the YouTube membership basically just gets you early access to videos. There's a private channel on the Discord where I'll give team feedback, so goodies like that, and it's like, you know, £3 a month or something. Dominic says, like from me. Thanks Dominic, appreciate that, mate. John L says 900 watching but only 150 likes. Come on people, you heard it from John. Matthew says, would you have Regulon in the free hit? I didn't include it in the news roundup, but I think I read that Regulon has a minor injury, if I'm not mistaken. Let me see if I can find that as well. I think I read that he had a minor injury, so he didn't play in the FA Cup. I think it was this one here. Sergio Regulon was carrying a minor injury that meant he remained on the bench. Matt Doherty struggling to fill his spot, with Ryan Sessegnon yet to return from his injury later this week. So he could be back in time for the North London derby, but he was carrying a minor injury, which puts me off him a bit. But wait for the news conferences, or the press conferences, and see what he says. Did the link not work for the Discord? I think that's it. fplfocal. Yeah, that should work. It's discord.gg/fplfocal. Does that work for you guys? Oh, alright, let me find what the correct link is. Apologies for that. Loads of people boosted the server, so it gave us our own custom URL, but apparently the custom URL doesn't work. Try that one instead. Apologies for the spam in the chat, but that's for the people that wanted to join. Saksham says, Oscar, what will you do with DCL now? I'll keep him. I suppose he'll be back for Norwich. And Everton's fixtures look really good, to be honest with you, so I'm not in a hurry to sell him. Really, really annoying that game is postponed, because I've taken a hit for DCL and he's got me 0 points, so that's 4 points down from DCL. It worked, perfect. Yeah, maybe it's Gonve, I don't know, it works for me. But yeah, after what should have been the Leicester game, Everton have got Norwich, Villa, Newcastle, Leeds, Southampton, so it's still 5 decent game weeks, so I'm not in a hurry to sell DCL, to be honest with you. Bernardo says, will you be getting either Ronaldo or Kane? As it stands, no. I'll have a decision to make if DCL's out, but as it stands, no. My current thinking is I'll just pull up my team selection actually. My current thinking is I'm going to go Smith Rowe to either Maddison or Foden. So essentially I'd be benching Salah, and I probably would continue benching him until he's back from the African Cup of Nations, which I hope is going to be Game Week 24. That's the current plan. Smith Rowe, as we found out tonight, reportedly has a tight groin, so he's out. So yeah, Smith Rowe is definitely going to be the one making way. 3.5 million in the bank, so it's probably going to be Maddison or Foden. I quite like Foden because I think, assuming he's back from COVID, of course, but I think he's in Pep's first choice 11. So if he's back, I think he certainly starts the Chelsea game, and hopefully the games beyond that. But yeah, Pep's getting close to being in that position where they're running away with it and they can afford to rotate more. As we've seen him do in the past, last season, Cancelo was a regular in Pep's starting 11 for the first half of the season or so, and then they start to focus on the Champions League, and that's when Cancelo started getting rotated heavily. So that's why I started Game Week 1 with Cancelo this season, and I think that's massively helped in terms of being where I am now. I had Cancelo from Game Week 1 and I've had him since. So yeah, Pep rotation is a worry. It could be a problem soon, but probably not just yet. Joel says, how you doing in the Cups, Oscar? Good question. I don't know. I think I'm out of them all. Oh, the only one I'm still in is the England Cup. I'm out of the Arsenal Cup and I'm out of the overall Cup, unfortunately. To be honest, I don't actually follow the Cups very closely. I never really paid much attention to them. I think they could do a lot more with the Cups to make them more interesting because, there's little incentive to pay that much attention to it. It's cool if you go far in the Cup, but it'd be really cool if they did. Andy, Let's Talk FPL, he suggested that if they let you pick a fresh 11, like having a free hit every week, separately for the Cup, and that would let you take some punts on players and that sort of thing. Kind of like what the scout selection is. Every week they pick a new 11 based on some punts for that game week. Jeffrey, thank you for becoming an fplfocal member. Appreciate that very much. Appreciate that, mate. Thank you. FPL Harry in the chat as well. Evening, Harry. How you doing, mate? We're just talking about the postponements, Harry. Very annoying. I took a -4 to get Calvert-Lewin in, and he missed the penalty, and then he gets his second game postponed. Well, he didn't get it postponed, but his fixture is postponed, so I'm 4 points down on that move, annoyingly. I would have been better off if I just kept hold of Lacazette and played him against Man City, which is, yeah, just the way it goes, I suppose. But I've been on the wrong side of variance the last few game weeks, I have to say. I had Salah captain the game week before when he missed the penalty then as well. So that was brutal. And the game week before that, I had Ronaldo captain, and he got 1 point with that yellow card. So brutal few game weeks. Somehow still fourth, but a bit worrying. Harry says, very well, thank you. Luckily I don't have any Everton, but it's shit for the others. Do you have any Leicester players? Yeah, in my case, I've only got Calvert-Lewin, so not too bad, but still annoying. And I don't know whether the Game Week 22 fixture goes ahead or not based on that. I suppose it depends on how fast Leicester get those players back. But they could certainly have grounds to request it again if they want. Aiden, how you doing, mate? Evening. Tony, how you doing? Oh, your quid's in, Harry. You're looking good. So yeah, the other question is who to captain for Game Week 22. I was dead set on doing Salah to Son, and Son was going to be my captain, but I think it's a decision to make now because you could go for King. I mean, King's not been totally convincing, but I think he's a reasonable option. I think Watford have probably got the best duo of fixtures for the double game week. So I think King's probably the best in my team. If you've got Kane or Ronaldo, then I think they're the standouts. But I think there's actually a case for going De Gea as well, which sounds crazy. But I think, for me, it's between De Gea and King. I actually fancy De Gea to do quite well in the double. I think Man United keep a clean sheet and maybe conceding the other one. So it's between those two for me, De Gea and King. Can't remember the last time I captained a goalkeeper. but for now I'll just put it like that. Save team. But yeah, the other plan is to hold on to Salah, which wasn't originally part of the plan. He was going to be sold for Son, but for now I'm thinking I'll keep hold of Salah. And it will allow me to save 2 valuable transfers that otherwise would have been spent selling Salah and then getting him back in as soon as he's available. And there's a chance that he's available for the Leicester game in 24. The African Cup of Nations final is on the 6th of February. And Game Week 24, or Liverpool's Game Week 24 fixture is on the 10th. So there's like 4 days between the two. But also 3rd and 4th place also play on the 6th. So I think if Egypt make the last 4, Salah's guaranteed to be playing on the very last day of AFCON. So it's just whether he'll make it back and turn in time with that turnaround. Seems plausible. You know, he'd have 3 days rest between. It's no different really from playing a Champions League fixture in another country and then playing in the league, which is what Salah's been doing all season. Henry, how you doing, mate? Roy says, what about Salah to KDB? Yeah, I don't hate it. In my case, I'm at the point where I think because of Son's injury, I'm half tempted to just keep hold of Salah for hopefully what's 2 blanks, and I'll be able to upgrade Smith Rowe to someone like Maddison or Foden in the interim. And I'll just have to hope that's enough. Or perhaps if I do fall down a bit, then I'll make up those points when everyone's scrambling to get Salah back in. So that's kind of where I'm at the moment with my thinking. Boris says, if you still have both free hit chips, would you use one now? Personally, no, I'd still save one. We were talking about it a bit earlier, but I think there's going to be better opportunities later in the season. Trying to find it now, where was it? Ben Crellin says, Double Gameweek 36 is likely to be huge. So based on Ben's speculation, and he's the man I trust with my life in terms of the scheduling, he thinks that Double Gameweek 36 will be the biggest one. So I think it's actually going to be big to save it until then if you can, because I think a lot of people are going to be looking to use theirs up before then. So therefore you get to Game Week 36 and it could be something like 10% of the top 100k still have one left to use at all. So I think I'll be tempted to save it, and of course we'll have blanks and doubles before then as well. I'm not that keen on the Double Gameweek fixtures, to be honest with you. As we were saying earlier, you know, it's a decent sized Double Gameweek, but the fixtures aren't that appealing. You know, Brenton, you don't want to touch any Brentford players. Brighton, not really. Burnley, not really. Spurs, yes, you could make the case for Kane and the defender, but now Son's not an option. Watford, yeah, you could go for King, maybe Dennis, but that's it really. No midfielders or defenders. Chelsea, yeah, you could go for Mount, but it's not a huge pool of players. So if I was on a free hit, I would almost certainly have 3 or 4 single gameweek players, so therefore I don't think it's worth it. Domster, thank you so much for becoming a YouTube member as well. Appreciate that very much. If anyone needs a hand setting up access to the Discord channel after becoming a member, let me know. Harry says his plan is to free hit in 27, free hit in 30, wildcard in 34, 35, and bench boost in 36. God, that is massive. Yeah, I like that a lot. A lot of upside in that. I'm very jealous as well that you've still got both free hits and a bench boost. I used my bench boost obviously way back in, I think it was Game Week 11. And to be fair, it was a decent bench boost, but I wasted one of my free hits in Game Week 19. I had like 7 players starting, so I had to use it, but I didn't get that much from it. I got something like 55 points. So I still gained about 20 points, but I could have gained a lot more if I'd picked my players a bit better. So frustrating, but that's the way it goes. What? He's just staring at me. Sheriff says, you left out the Leicester and Man United players. Yeah, so Leicester, Maddison, I would definitely have. Strikers, there's no options there because they're all out, I believe. I'm not even sure if Leicester's fixture goes ahead either, you know, based on tomorrow's fixture getting postponed. But yeah, Man United, Ronaldo, like I say, you have to have Ronaldo if you're free hit him. But beyond that, again, there's not many options. De Gea, I think, is the go-to keeper on a free hit. But yeah, beyond that, maybe Bruno, but he's not done much to convince us to get him. Incredible how much he's fallen off compared to last season, because last season he was basically essential. You had to have Bruno last season. The amount of double-digit returns he got last season was just astonishing. And this season we're not even considering him for a double game week. It's crazy. Maz says, can you show us your free hit team if you're going to use it? Yeah, I'll give it a go. Let's give it a go. So if I was on a free hit, like I said earlier, I would actually have some single game week players. So I think I'd have De Gea in goal regardless. So I think I'd probably have Backman, backup keeper, nice cheap one. Alonso and Trent I'd want anyway. Third defender, probably Cucurella. Up top I would have Ronaldo and I would have Kane. I'd probably leave King in actually, so it'd be Kane, Ronaldo, King, front three. And then the midfield, I think I would have Maddison. I'd keep Jota. This is the thing. I would keep some single game week players, which is why I don't think it's worth using the free hit this game week. Who else would I have? Maddison. I'd probably have Mount. Not the best double for Chelsea, but I'd have Mount. So it'd be a 3-4-3. 0.7 in the bank, so you could downgrade one of these to a cheap defender. I don't know if Johnson's good or not, but Sufal's got COVID. So you'd have 1.6, so 7.2 to spend on the last mid. You could pick anyone here really though, because I think I'd have Bowen. So it would be Alonso, Trent, Cucurella, Mount, Maddison, Jota, Bowen, Kane, Ronaldo, King. And then you've got 7.2 to spend on whoever, maybe Trossard. I think that'd be my free hit draft. Livramento obviously changed as well, so I've got 5.3, so there's probably loads of options you could get for 5.3. Can you afford Maguire with that? 5.4, thereabouts, something like that. Something like that would be my free hit draft if I was using it this game week. And it's not the best free hit team, is it really, when you look at it? But that's probably how I would line up. Hasir, thanks for a donation. You got one free transfer, 0.8 in the bank. You're considering Salah and Watkins to Jota and Ronaldo, or Son and Watkins to Bruno and King. I would do the Jota and Ronaldo move, definitely. I don't think I would go Bruno and King. Jota looks like a great pickup, guaranteed to play while Salah's out. And Ronaldo's got the double game week, so he can be your captain. So even if it's for a -4, which it is, you've got one transfer. I think it's still a very justified -4. But obviously wait for news, because Tielemans could have his game postponed as well. What else do we have? We've got the Kings of the game week as it stands. So it was Schmeichel that joined the Kings last game week. Game week 21, I'm not sure who it is at the moment as it stands. Those on our Discord will know that we've got a channel for Kings of the Game Week where you can predict the player each game week, and if you're the one that's right, you win a prize. At the moment, it's actually Sanchez, Davinson Sanchez, from Spurs with his 15-pointer, because he got the goal and the clean sheet and the free bonus against Watford, which feels like a lifetime ago. Clean sheet odds for Game Week 22 are as follows. Liverpool are top for the game against Brentford at home. Again, which is why I would absolutely have Trent if I was on a free hit draft. And I would have Jota as well. Chelsea is second on the clean sheet odds, 43% chance for their game against Brighton, which is the second of their double. Man City have a 37% chance for their game against Chelsea, which is the first of Chelsea's double. Brighton a 37% chance against Crystal Palace, again, which is why I probably have Cucurella, because the clean sheet odds aren't too bad, and of course he's got the chance of an attacking return in him. Man United 35% chance against Brentford away. Rock bottom, spoiler alert for the Roundup video when that comes out this week, is of course Brentford away at Anfield. 10% chance of a clean sheet. Leeds second bottom, 14% chance for their away game against West Ham United. Again, which is why I don't think the free hit's worth it, because the two teams rock bottom on the clean sheet odds play against a team with a single game week. West Ham and Liverpool. So I'd be looking to have Jota, Trent, Antonio, Bowen, potentially all four. Goal scorer odds, and this adds both game weeks together. So Ronaldo's got a 71% chance of scoring any time across the two games. The two fixtures, of course, Aston Villa and Brentford. Kane's 70% chance, narrowly behind Ronaldo for the game against Arsenal and Leicester. Chris Wood, interestingly, 65% chance. Read a report that he's been linked with Newcastle, who, as we were saying earlier, in a bit of a striker crisis and injury crisis. Oops, forgot to mute the Discord. And of course the goal scorer odds presume that the player starts, and that's not always the case. Lukaku's got a 50% chance of scoring. Sounds like he's just about made up with Tuchel and the Chelsea players after what happened. But we'll have to see how they line up there for those games. And lastly, the predicted points for Game Week 22 are as follows. Ronaldo is top with 10.19 predicted points for the two games that he's got. Kane's second, 9.7 predicted points. Wood third, 8.39. Bruno, 7.4. Mount, 7.13. Tellez is up there, interestingly. I think, if I'm not mistaken, Luke Shaw misses both games. Or maybe is it one of the two with suspensions, so maybe that's why Tellez appears so high up there. And Josh King, 6.95. Who are you guys putting the armband on for Game Week 22? Go on, Tim. Terminator says, doesn't Trent have COVID? He does, but reportedly he tested positive just after the Chelsea game, so he's expected to be back and available for selection for the next one. Anurag, thanks for the donation. Says, thoughts on this free hit squad? Trent, Alonso, Davies, Maddison, Bowen, Mora, Bruno, Kane, Ronaldo, King, but I'll have to put Tsimikas as third sub to make it work. Yeah, it's a good draft. Davies is probably the Spurs defender I'd get based on the report that Reguilon was restricted to the bench because of an injury in the FA Cup fixture. I think Tsimikas last on the bench is okay as long as the other two are good picks. I'm not personally convinced, like I said earlier, that it's the best game week to free hit, but I think if you're a free hit and that draft is about as good as it gets. I think I'd have a very similar draft. Yeah, I can't really make any suggestions what I'd change there. My draft is almost identical. Good team. Adinya, thanks for donation as well. It says, would you do Salah to Ronaldo plus bench fodder for captain? It depends on your team structure, but yeah, I'd be very tempted. I think Ronaldo is going to be the most captain player in Game Week 22. For a -4, I think there's questions to be asked, but it's very team dependent on who you can play instead. In my case, I can afford to bench Salah because I can go Smith Rowe to Maddison and bench Salah, or Smith Rowe to Foden. But yeah, I don't hate the move at all. I think it's good to have Ronaldo for this double because he is going to be the most heavily captained. I lost the question. I think it was from Harry. Harry said, are you planning to go full-time FPL? Love this question. I actually am. I haven't officially announced it yet or told FPL Twitter or anything like that. But the plan is to, this year, in the next few months. That's the plan. So I'm looking forward to that, but I'm also quite nervous because I've worked in IT since I graduated, which was 8 years ago. So it's all I've known, working full-time Monday to Friday. And I was able to juggle YouTube with that job, and I still am. So, yeah, that's the plan, to quit that and do FPL full-time. Which is a win-win, because of course I'll be able to spend more time on videos. Whereas at the moment, I finish work, I get in, and I jump straight into editing the next video. So, you know, I have less time for myself and to focus on videos. So it's quite exciting. But yeah, I'm not sure. I'll have to work out what to do with all the spare time I'll have, I suppose. Mixture of captaincies in the chat. Ronaldo, Dennis, Jota. Jota's an interesting one. Trossard. Trossard's an even more interesting one. Trent. George says, will Leicester play next game week? We're not sure yet. Their fixture tomorrow has been postponed. So when were they actually due to play that next match? They were going to play against Burnley on this Saturday, so it wouldn't surprise me if that gets called off. But Burnley at this point, they're going to be rock bottom of the table with about 10 games in hand. As it stands, Burnley have got 3 games in hand. And as it stands, tomorrow's game, Leicester v Everton, is absolutely postponed. So it wouldn't surprise me if that fixture's postponed as well. Captain Kane, yeah, good choice. Colin says, could you put up a captain poll? Yeah, definitely I can. What website's good for doing captain polls? Is straw poll still a thing? We can create one right now and let's see how everyone's voting. Let's do it. Get your votes in on this in a sec. Who's your captain for GW22? Answers: Ronaldo, Kane, King, Dennis, Maddison, Trossard. Is there any I'm forgetting here? Jota, Trent. I think that'll about do it. Other message in chat. Alright. Get your votes in. Let's see how everyone's going for Game Week 22 in terms of captaincy. Anas says, would you captain Jota? Probably not, but I think he's a feasible option. Results. DJ Hammer says, is King your actual captain or is he your bus captain? Yeah, at the moment he's my bus captain. It might change, but I don't have many options, to be honest. I think it's between De Gea and King. Maybe Trent. I think Trent's also a very good option, but it's between those 3. Get your votes in. Over 100 already. So 39% have voted for Ronaldo, 17% for Kane, 14% for Dennis, 10% or so for King, a few for Jota, Trent, 2 votes for Maddison, 1 vote for Trossard. We saw the Trossard guy in the chat. Fair play if you're going Trossard, that's a huge differential shout, that. But yeah, it's as expected, it's Ronaldo top. Which is worrying because I don't have Ronaldo and I don't have a route to him without selling Salah and DCL for a hit, which I probably won't do. I'd only consider it if DCL's out for next game week. Did I miss a member? Adam Davies, thank you so much for that, mate. Thanks for becoming a member. Appreciate that. Yeah, if anyone's interested in becoming a member, it's the join button below the stream or the link in the description. And it gets you early access to some videos. There's a private channel on the Discord where I chat with the members, give team feedback and that sort of thing. Anyway, yeah, thanks for your votes on the captain poll. Interesting to see how everyone's shaping up as it stands. I want to take a quick look at the Premier League players mini league. And as it stands, James Justin is still well in front. As we know, he's very good at FPL. Last season he came top 10k. But I wanted to highlight Saka on this as well. So Saka's actually 261k in the world as it stands. But what's interesting here is that Saka started FPL in Game Week 2. So if we go into his Game Week history here, you'll see Game Week 2 is when Saka started playing. And what's the most impressive is, I'm just going to switch this off a sec so you can see it. What's the most impressive is that Saka's 69th in the world for the players that started in Game Week 2. 69th in the world. So he's having a hell of a season on FPL. Tom cleverly activated his free hit, but he's only on 30 points. He went Captain Bowen, Sufal vice captain. Adam Falshaw from Leeds, triple captained Antonio. Fair play, not bad. Rock bottom is Luke Ayling, who's currently 7.3 mil. Rob Holding's got Salah captain. Interesting. Trent's got Daka captain. I'm sure most of you have seen this already, but I made a video which I posted yesterday on the worst FPL scores of all time, spanning all the way back to the 2002-03 season to as recently as last season. So if anyone's not seen that, that's on my channel, my most recent upload. And yeah, all these scores added up was minus 44 points. And some of the ways that these players got these scores is just ridiculous. So John Walters is the most infamous one. I think it was the 2013-14 season, and he scored 2 own goals. And then in the 90th minute, Stoke win a penalty, and Walters steps up to take it, and he misses the penalty. So he finishes the game with -4 from 2 own goals and a missed penalty. But of course, Bednarak is the lowest game week score ever, and that was when they lost 9-0, and he scored an own goal, got a red card, and conceded 9 goals. Brutal. And I also managed to track down the manager who is last in FPL. So this is Andy Law. I'll just switch it off again so you can see his points and so on. I don't know if he's doing this using a bot or something, but Andy Law is currently last in FPL, literally last in the world. And he's sitting at minus 62,733 points. And he's taken an average of about 700 or so hits per game week. Although really randomly, in Game Week 20 he took a -8. But besides that, he's taken hundreds of hits every game week. So yes, I don't know. Top 100k is still doable for Andy, maybe. Shay says, is De Gea a viable captain? I think he absolutely is a viable captain, yeah. I'm actually considering him. No cap, I'm genuinely considering him. I think it's between him and King for my team. Maybe Trent, but I think it's between King and De Gea. King's kind of dropped off a bit the last few. He's got 1 assist in his last 5, so yeah, not great. But we can't help but daydream about the upside, right? Imagine if he has a game week 9 game week again, gets a hat-trick, and you've got him captain in a double. So stuff for dreams. How was everyone's weekend? Oh, you can see the green screen. There we go, is that better? There we go, that'll do. No, it won't. Oh, now I'm off the screen. How did I used to have this set up? There we go. Just about. Kia says, Maddison captain. Yeah, I think Maddison's a feasible option as well. I'll just pull up their predicted points again for Double Gameweek 22. This is courtesy of FPL Review. They're really good for predicted points and that sort of thing, and clean sheet, goal score odds, etc. And they've got Ronaldo top for the Game Week 22 predicted points. Kane second, set with 9.7. Wood, interestingly, they've got third. To be fair, Burnley have got 2 home games. Bruno's fourth. Mount's fifth. I actually don't see Maddison here. I don't know if it's perhaps not updated the predicted minutes. So the way FPL Review works is it has predicted minutes for every player in a game week. So for example, it'll have 0 predicted minutes for Salah for this game week because he's at AFCON. And I think Maddison was flagged, so perhaps Maddison's not yet had his minutes updated, which is why he doesn't appear here. But I imagine he'll appear somewhere around Mount and Bruno on this chart. Adam says, are you a software developer? I'm not, no. Not a software developer. I've got a degree in computing, so we did do a bit of software development, but that's not what I do. It's not my day job. The company I work for, they do managed IT services for other companies in a nutshell. FPL Dreams says, will Leicester still have a double game week? We don't know yet. What we do know is tomorrow's game against Everton is off, so that's going to be a blank. And of course, game week 22 comes just 4 days later. So really it's going to depend on Leicester's situation nearer that game. Because I believe as it stands they've got 8 senior players, and the Premier League's rules are if you've got less than 13 you've got grounds to request a postponement. So if all these players come back in time, then they'll be forced to play it, but they could also be well within their right to request another postponement. Siang says, what's your transfer plans, mate? So at the moment, I'm looking to do Smith Rowe to Maddison or Foden, and the plan is to actually keep hold of Salah rather than sell Salah. Originally the plan was to sell Salah for some, but now I'm thinking I'll do Smith Rowe out and I'll get one of Maddison or Foden. Not sure which yet, but that's the plan. Killshot says, I won the Game Week 18 overall, but official FPL didn't announce it. What can I do? To be honest, I didn't know they even announced it. What do they normally do? Do they give you a shout out on Twitter or what? Or do you mean you didn't get a prize? I suppose the best thing you can do is just add them on Twitter or drop them an email. I should spot it in the chat. And bye. Colin says, fplfocal, how are you so chill? Am I? Didn't realise. Batsman says, Trent is injured, confirmed. I haven't read that confirmed anywhere. All I've read is that he had COVID. And that was the reason that he wasn't in Liverpool's FA Cup squad. And he's expected to be back for the weekend, so I don't think he's injured. There's a question in chat, can you do a free hit draft? I did one a little bit early on the stream and this is how it ended up, so feel free to grab a screenshot of that. This was made, just in a few minutes, but I think it would be something like this. But as I was saying earlier, if I was free hitting, I'd want probably 3 or 4 single game week players because West Ham and Liverpool have such a good fixture. So therefore I'm not sure if I would honestly consider the free hit this game week. You're free hitting players like Mount, who's got City, Leicester. Maybe they don't have a game. They do have Tottenham as well. Not the best double. So I'm not sure if it's worth the free hit. But if I was using it, I think I would pick a team something like this. I was going to do a video on a free hit draft before the Son injury. But I think that Son injury was the tipping point. To the point where it's probably not worth it. And there's going to be more upside using it later in the season. Jake says, tips if you're wildcard in this game week. I would say don't go all in on the double game week, so don't get all these players like Trossard and then you're stuck with them for Leicester and then they've got a blank. I would have a plan so that you're able to get Salah back in, because you don't want to get to a point where you're suddenly like, oh no, how do I get Salah? And he's hauling straight on his return. But yeah, I also, like I said, don't go all in on the double. I'd have Trent, Jota, I'd still have Bowen. I'd probably still have Antonio. I think they're all good picks, even though they don't have a double. Chris says, very chill for someone currently number 4 in the world. I was number 1 at one point, but I got to be composed on the streams, right? It's like I say, it's very frustrating. In my case, I took a hit to bring in Calvert-Lewin. And he misses the penalty, gets me 0 points, and then his second game is postponed. So that is a frustration, that is annoying. And last game week I had Salah captain, he missed a penalty. So it's been a frustrating couple of game weeks, to be honest. But there's no good in kicking up a fuss on the stream, is there? Vijay says, hey, should I get in De Bruyne for Son? Yeah, I think De Bruyne's a reasonable pick. I think I quite like Foden more than De Bruyne, assuming that Foden's back and available for selection. I think this season their ceiling is about the same, and Foden's significantly cheaper. And I think Foden is in Man City's first 11, so I think I like Foden slightly more, assuming that he's back and available for selection. But I don't hate the De Bruyne pick by any means. James says FPL has deteriorated into a lottery. Complete rubbish now. Yeah, this is the thing. You can't plan this season. Planning's gone out the window. And I can't help but wonder what would have been if we didn't have these postponements. Because before the postponements, I was absolutely flying. I was first in the world. My squad management was pretty on point, and I can say that, you know, because it's often not. But I was at the point where my squad management was on point. I was making all the right calls. Everything was going perfectly. And then we had all these postponements, and I had so many players out. I couldn't field 11 for 4 game weeks in a row. I had to use the free hit, you know, all sorts. And as a result, I have slipped from first. So I don't let it keep me up at night, but I wonder what could have been. Anna says, fplfocal, what a geezer. Thanks, Anna. Appreciate that, mate. Akamji says, what about Gray? He has good fixtures. Yeah, I like the Gray pick. Gray's a good option. Everton, one of those sides that have a couple of fixtures to be rearranged. Just trying to find Ben Crellin's graphic. Here it is. So he's got a column here on the far left. I think you can just about see that. Which is unrescheduled postponements. So Burnley and Arsenal have got 3. Everton have got 2. Villa, Wolves, Newcastle, Leeds, Liverpool, Tottenham, Watford, Brighton. All of these sides have got 2. And then after tonight, Everton have actually got 3, and now Leicester have 2. So there's so many games to be rearranged. And all I'm really interested in here is this orange. Can you see my mouse? No. No, you can't see my mouse anymore. I used to be able to see my mouse on these streams. How weird. I guess you can't see where I'm pointing. But anyway, you see here February the 15th and February 22nd, March 1st. They're like orange slots, and the colour key at the top is possible double game week. So those are very likely spots that they're going to start rescheduling postponed fixtures. So it could be as soon as game week 25. So i.e. in a few game weeks we'll start to see those games rearranged. And it's very possible that we have some back-to-back game weeks and that sort of thing, maybe even 3 in a row. So if we know the fixtures in advance, there could be huge upside to wildcarding around then, because you could make a wildcard team that's got a strong base, strong core to the team, and it also hits a few double game week players as the weeks go on. Vijay says, is Calvert-Lewin worth a hit now? Not worth a hit, no. He's got a single game week. I know he's got Norwich, but I wouldn't be taking a hit to get in Calvert-Lewin. He missed their FA Cup game with an injury, so I'm hoping he's back for the Norwich game, but I wouldn't be looking to take a hit to bring him in. What do you want? Dog's just staring at me. What? I think he's lost his toy under my bed. That's I may as well be in Narnia now. You're not getting that back. Harren says, KDB or Fernandez? KDB. Chris says, are you English? Yes. I live just outside London. Liam Curley says, do you think it's worth holding Salah? It's a very team-dependent one to answer. My plan was to sell Salah for Son, but now I'm less inclined to sell Salah. Because the next best option, really, is Maddison or Foden. But in my case, I can afford either of those by selling Smith Rowe. So it's almost worth doing the Smith Rowe move instead. You know, Smith Rowe reportedly now has a injury, but before that, he'd lost his spot to Martinelli. So I think Smith Rowe was an easy sell for me this game week, considering what's changed since. So I'm looking to actually keep Salah now. And it's going to be 2 valuable transfers. Transfers are the most valuable thing. You get a finite number of them, and I would have to use 2 to sell Salah and inevitably get him back in, potentially as soon as game week 24, maybe 25. So I don't think it's worth it. So at this point I'm looking to hold Salah personally, but it is team dependent on how you can shape up. Ollie says, why KDB over Fernandez? With the problem with Fernandez, I know he's got double game week, but he just looks like a shadow of his former self, and he's not even getting guaranteed minutes at the moment. I think he was benched one recently, was he not? I mean, Game Week 21, he played half an hour. I can't remember if he was suspended for the Burnley game, or if he just was an unused sub. But, you know, why is he playing 30 minutes? It's Bruno Fernandes. That doesn't fill me with any confidence whatsoever that he plays the 2 games in the double. So I wouldn't be looking to bring him in personally. Not tempted by Bruno. Which is crazy. Like we were saying, last season, Bruno was one of those near essential players. You had to have Bruno because he would hurt you otherwise. And I had him for nearly every game week of the season. Oh, he was suspended. Yeah, so last game week, or game week 21, he played half an hour, came off the bench. Which is crazy. You'd think he comes straight back into the 11, so I wouldn't be looking to bring him in. Anyway, it's been a good hour or so, I think we're going to wrap up the stream there. If you have enjoyed the stream, do hit like on it, really appreciated. And of course, subscribe to the channel if you're not already. I've already finished editing the Game Week 22 Captain's video, so that's going to be out tomorrow morning. It's actually going to be a really busy week for videos. There's loads of Game Week 22 content. We're going to have the top 100 all-time managers video. Spoilers, we finally have a manager coming back on for an interview for the next one, so I'm really looking forward to that. Some of you might know FPL Strategy on Twitter. He meets the criteria. The criteria, for those that don't know, is you have to have 7 top 10Ks or 4 top 1Ks. And in his case, he's got 7 top 10Ks, so he's agreed to do an interview. So that video will be out this week as well. And then, of course, I'll be doing my Game Week 22 team selection. And then there'll be the Game Week 22 Roundup video. And then perhaps a deadline stream. So loads to come for before Game Week 22. So make sure you subscribe for that. And, of course, like the stream if you have enjoyed it. I'll be on the Discord after the stream, and the other thing I'll do is I'll add the timestamps to this stream, as always. But for now, everyone, thank you so much for tuning in. I hope you've enjoyed it, and I'll see you soon for the next one.